Just days ago, the gaming world was completely united in praise. The June 2026 Xbox Games Showcase was widely hailed as the brand's best showing in a decade. Hardcore fans were celebrating, and the new CEO, Asha Sharma, was being praised on social media as a literal savior who was finally returning Xbox to its hardcore gaming roots. But in the corporate world, a single week is an eternity. On Monday, June 15th, the curtain was aggressively pulled back. While players were still looking forward to the future, behind closed doors, the lights were already being turned off. In a matter of hours, investigative reports shattered the illusion. Legendary first-party studios notified of sudden closures, top executives abruptly resigning, and developers desperately bargaining for their independence. This isn't just a minor corporate shift. This is the Xbox reset, and it is the most brutal week in the history of the brand. Today, we're looking inside the collapse. To understand the sudden chaos of June 15th, we have to look back just a few days earlier to an ominous public memo co-signed by Asha Sharma and Matt Booty. The document laid bare a terrifying financial reality that Microsoft could no longer hide from its investors. The memo revealed that Xbox's core accountability margin, its direct profitability, has cratered to a razor-thin 3%. Even worse, when you strip away the massive newly added revenue from the Activision Blizzard acquisition, Xbox's annual revenue has actually dropped by nearly $500 million over the last 5 years, despite spending over $20 billion on content and platform work. In corporate prose, Sharma effectively admitted the aggressive expansionist strategy of the Phil Spencer era had overextended the brand. The mandate was set: cut budgets, slash marketing, and restructure immediately. But hiding inside that memo was a phrase that pointed to a silent killer completely outside the gaming industry: a hardware component crisis. Specifically, Microsoft is facing a staggering 2.75 to 5x cost spike on the raw materials required to build modern consoles. For 30 years, the console business model relied on a predictable economic curve, Moore's Law. A platform holder launches a box at a financial loss, knowing that over the next 5 years, manufacturing components get cheaper and the hardware eventually becomes profitable. But the global generative AI gold rush completely shattered that curve. Think about what goes into an Xbox Series X: ultra-fast solid-state storage and high-bandwidth GDDR6 memory. Now think about what goes into an AI data center cluster: millions of enterprise-grade solid-state drives and monolithic stacks of high-speed memory. Tech giants, including Microsoft's own cloud infrastructure division, are currently buying up every single scrap of silicon and wafer allocation on Earth to build out AI models, and they're paying premium, inflated enterprise prices to get it. When a semiconductor factory has to choose between selling a memory chip to the Xbox division for a razor-thin profit margin or selling that exact same chip to an enterprise AI data center for a massive premium, consumer gaming loses every single time. This completely broke Microsoft's hardware math. Manufacturing a console in 2026 is drastically more expensive than it was at launch. Because hardware subsidies have become a financial black hole, the corporate bean counters turned their eyes to the software side to claw back the money. And that brings us to Black Monday, June 15th. The first domino fell when Kotaku reported that Compulsion Games, the Montreal-based developer behind the recently released South of Midnight, was slated for closure. Despite the game winning a prestigious Peabody Award and a BAFTA, its day-one launch on Game Pass meant traditional retail sales couldn't satisfy corporate metrics. Staffers immediately took to social media, signaling they were actively hunting for work. Moments later, The Verge dropped an absolute bombshell. Staffers at Ninja Theory were called into a meeting and informed the studio was being shut down. Think about the sheer whiplash here. Just hours prior, their next major project, Sinua, was proudly displayed at the showcase to prove Xbox's artistic prestige. Now the team is left scrambling, desperately hunting for a third-party buyer to rescue them before the axe officially falls. But investigative reporting from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier exposed an even wilder reality, an unprecedented first-party exodus. Multiple studios, including Double Fine Productions led by industry legend Tim Schafer, are currently locked in active negotiations to buy themselves back from Microsoft. They aren't just facing layoffs, they are actively trying to spin off and run away to escape total liquidation. And just to prove the internal chaos was complete, Craig Duncan, the head of Xbox Game Studios, and his chief of staff, Louise O'Connor, both abruptly resigned right as the restructuring went public. This sudden execution of mid-sized studios highlights the radical, aggressive philosophy shift under Xbox's new leadership. For a decade, Phil Spencer's strategy was infinite expansion, building an empire centered entirely around Game Pass subscription growth, cloud ubiquity, and platform-agnostic distribution. Asha Sharma's approach is completely different. Since taking over in February, she has won serious fan favor by making pro-consumer moves. She killed the heavily criticized plan to inject Copilot AI assistants into the dashboard, explicitly promising to protect human artistry and not flood the ecosystem with soulless AI slop. She even lowered the price of Game Pass Ultimate. But to balance those books in the face of a hardware component crisis, the business model had to be ruthlessly re-engineered. Asha Sharma realized that launching $100 million mega games on a cheap subscription service was destroying traditional retail revenue. Her new policy rolled back day one releases for massive titles like Call of Duty, moving them to a 12-month delay instead. The tragic irony of June 2026 is that the exact studios being cut away are the ones that delivered on Sharma's promise of human creativity. Independent, auteur-driven powerhouses like Ninja Theory and Double Fine are the ultimate defense against corporate monotony. But on a corporate balance sheet, they don't move the needle like Halo, Fallout, or Call of Duty. They are being sacrificed to protect the margins of mega franchises. We are currently living through an end of an era. The dream of the benevolent corporate gaming monopoly, where a tech giant buys up your favorite mid-tier studios and funds them forever out of pocket, is dead. Microsoft's fiscal year ends on June 30th. Internal sources confirm that the official widespread corporate layoffs won't formally hit the payroll books until July 1. This means right now, behind closed doors, hundreds of developers are living in absolute limbo, waiting to see if their studio leadership can successfully negotiate an independent spin-off, or if they will be completely wiped off the board. Xbox wanted to change how the world played games. Instead, the economic reality of 2026 changed Xbox. As the dust settles on the Xbox reset, the brand may survive, but the creative soul that fans celebrated just days ago at the showcase is being left behind. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think studios like Double Fine and Ninja Theory can survive as independent teams again? Or is this the beginning of a permanent downsizing for the green brand? Hit subscribe, and I'll keep you updated as this story develops.